She might be getting a pedicure.
Yo, TK.
I'm at my family's house. We're gonna go to dinner in a sec.
What are you in the royal kingdom of
She
Zamunda?
looking
Like,
fresh, though.
where
She
are
looking
you?
fresh.
Everything around Trysta is gold. It looks like she's sitting in a throne.
I wish.
Yo,
No,
yeah.
I'm at the I'm in the living room of the house that I just got to, and then we're gonna go to dinner, and then we're gonna go and see an improv show. So it's gonna be great.
I can't lie.
Nice.
You look pretty fly right now. This
Thank
this
you.
feels
No,
like
she look
a
big time.
this feels
Thank
like a 28-minute thirst trap. Like like Trista's looking fly right now with the lock necklace on
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the in
yeah.
the in the
Yeah,
low cut.
she doing
Yeah.
that. She doing
Yeah.
that with the necklace. I like the. She got the choker, but then she
Yeah.
got the other one that kind of hangs a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Clavicles out.
Clavicle.
Clavicles out.
What's up, homie?
What's up, guys? What you guys have been doing, talking about today?
Talking about how great De'Aaron Fox is.
Yeah, he's so good.
He's sick.
He's
Why
so good.
we were talking about this earlier, and Trysta day one. She with us. She family. So this doesn't go to Trysta Krick because she's doing God's work out here, but she is quote unquote national media.
Yes.
Maybe she can talk about the rest of her peers. Why does national media not show the Kings, De'Aaron Fox specifically, and DeMontis Sabonis the love we feel they deserve?
One, I think 65% of the national media lives on the East Coast, and they have to go to sleep at some point,
They need
right?
to be called out.
We need to have some re-shifting of the powers. I know that if I was to do NBA specifically, I'd move out to the West Coast because it's hard. And thankfully I already do an evening show, and although I don't particularly love the schedule and the sleep schedule that I'm on, it does help me feel comfortable being like, all right, well, I'll just watch this Kings game or this Lakers game and stay up till 1:30, get these tweets off, crack these jokes, and then sleep in till 10 and not feel like a bum. Like I legitimately sleep in till 9:30 to 10:30, sometimes even 11 a.m. Because why? Because I was in bed at 2 a.m. still scrolling, still talking about the beam, still talking to y'all, getting into the chatter. And if you have a real
And
job,
answer the FaceTime call though.
yes, had a flight the next day though. Had a flight the next day.
I was about to say, I thought she was probably jumping off of a
flaming table.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah,
a hot wing or something in her hand.
Exactly. So I was like trying to figure that out. No, so if I had a show at 9 a.m. or I had to be on ESPN daily at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you get enough of these West Coast games, and you're like, I think I got a pretty good handle on what's happening in Sacramento. They're pretty good. That's all I'll say.
But two things. Number one, not you. I'm speaking about like if you were this facetious person.
Yeah.
You don't have a good handle on what's going on. You're wrong. And then number two, you do it. Like you stay up, you get the job done. Why can't Joe Blow on the other? Why can't he do it?
Because I work at 7. My show starts at 7 p.m. My show doesn't start at 9 a.m. Right?
There's people that ain't got no shows.
Yeah, no, you're right.
They
have
no
shows.
And they still don't know what's going on.
Yeah, they have. I don't know why. I think it has to do with sleep. I think that's the number one reason. And I think it's really hard to change. I was actually talking to Spike Eskin, the program director for the Fan, 2 days ago, and this came up, but I think it holds true in this conversation too, which is it's just really hard to change your brand once people get it set of what it is, right? And the brand for some teams, the Kings being one, is kind of that lazy take that my co-host gave that I burned him up for prior to the season starting, where the Kings have a reputation of being this way, and that you shouldn't trust that they will ever do anything of note or of excellence or even mediocrity. And so, you know what, we can just ignore them. Doesn't matter what pieces they have. Of course, the decisions that they make, trading Tyrese Halliburton, of course we'll just immediately say it was a bad deal for the Kings. Why? Because it's the Kings. That's why. And so when you have a standard or a lack thereof that has been set across the board for a certain period of time, and this is the Kings brand for the last 15, 20 years or whatever it's been, then you can just go on your way and mostly you'll be right. And now you are looking like an idiot because things have changed and you haven't spent any time figuring out what this new brand is.
I have really good news for them, though. But once this technology catches up with the rest of the world, like Trysta's, cohorts in the national media, like they'll be better off. Like, because Kenny and I had a meeting last night that went like 6 hours. We did not see the Sacramento Kings play live. We didn't see the Lakers and the Warriors play live. But because I have this like advanced technology, I was able to watch the game in the midst of this rain and windstorm when I couldn't sleep. I woke up at 3 a.m. and just watched the Kings play basketball. I was up so damn early. I was able to watch the Lakers destroy our Dubs last night.
Our Dubs are in trouble.
Yeah, so I was going to get to that, but once that technology catches up with the national media, they'll be in good shape.
It's still being worked out. The Kings are still being worked out. I guess
it's new. It's brand. It's pretty much exclusive to like the three of us. Like no one else has this.
No one knows about condensed
television
games.
Later. They don't know about that stuff.
Condensed games, DVR, whatever. Once the game
YouTube
is
ain't
over,
ain't got to the East Coast yet.
Not yet.
They have like 10-minute games on there. You can watch the game in 10 minutes.
I don't think you can get much from that, but if that's like if you watch a lot of games, the condensed fills in like the every fourth game that you miss, right? Like you can't just live off of condensed games. Condensed games are like potato chips. Like you can have potato chips if you're real hungry and you're sick and you normally have like a good diet like Damien, or you eat broccoli and greens and then you eat the bag of chips, but you can't subsist off of chips, right?
No,
like,
you're right.
I love that you said broccoli and greens. Like I'm eating both of them, like broccoli and greens.
Now, I think they all got all these people that be talking about the NBA, they're not watching it. They got the league pass. So with the league pass, you get the all possessions recap. That's only 30 minutes.
Yeah, I don't actually know if these people love the game as much as us, right? And I can't speak
to the crux of it.
Yeah, I can't speak to it, but I think the league is as exciting as it's been in a long time. Whether you can say anything, oh, we got problems over here. It's discussing stuff. So we got a dog in the mix here. She's got a fresh haircut and she's feeling real spicy. So I'm not sure. I think that the league is as exciting as it's been a long time. Like I was talking to Michael Scotto today at 2. We had an interview and I said, man, the OKC Thunder right now are such an intriguing team. The Kings, such an intriguing, fun, exciting, high offense, like bucket getters, like fun flow. Like if you don't take the time out, then you're just not really, you don't really love the purest part of the game. Like I go to Summer League and I'm there all day. Like I'm there as soon as I can and I'm there until dinner, right? Because like you're just never going to get that up that close. And those memories of seeing Paolo before he's played a regular season game and Chet and Giddy together, like that to me is why I got into this. Right? I love this. All the tea and stuff is fun, but like the game is what I love.
Your tea is really fun though. Like you've got a gallon of tea. It's all really, really good.
You need to come out with a book.
Trysta Krick has never told a bad story, like ever. But she has had a bad take before. Kings play the Clippers tonight. Why is your take on Russell Westbrook and the Clippers so awful?
So here's the thing that I don't understand is like, I don't think that there's anything wrong with Russ. Like I don't. Like that's the premise that
I'm going to have to rewatch that video you posted again.
So
I gotta go in on Russ.
I like Russ. I do. I just don't know
I would hate to see what it sounded like if you didn't.
Yeah. I just don't know what he's doing there, right? Like other than the fact of, okay, Lawrence Frank comes out, right? Lawrence Frank, GM of the Clippers, comes out and says, we want guys who aren't going to get played off the floor because they won't play defense. We want guys who play really well on the ball and off the ball. We want guys because the ball's going to be in Paul George and Kawhi's hands so much, 60-70% of the time. We want guys who shoot. So, okay, it's a fit thing. Does that sound like Russ to you? Those comments of what they want in a guard, is that Russ?
To be fair, it does not sound like Russ.
Russ can shoot from the mid-range.
Okay.
Russ can shoot
So
from mid-range.
when you are Lawrence Frank and you're like, I want guys who like
That's not
can
true.
be in the corner and shoot and
Well,
be, that's not gonna be Russ. He's one of the worst corner 3-point shooters in the league. And it sounds very similar to what they said when they picked up John Wall. Like, we want an athletic guy who can playmate, get out into transition. And the John Wall, Paul George minutes were at best like a +1 net rating. So why is Russ, and I'm not saying that Russ has equal amounts of gas in the tank than John Wall. He has more gas in the tank than John Wall. I think we know that. Like, he's played really excellent basketball this year off the bench. But if you're saying we want Russ as a starter, which they did say, and they also, before they picked up Russ, said all these things about what they want in a guard, that doesn't, to me, there is something suspect there. And when I say, what is Russ doing there? It's really through the lens of like, that's what you said you wanted. So why did you go out? So like, not saying that this is a 1-to-1 comparison, but it's like, I want a nice girl. Like, I want someone home to bring home to mom. I want like a really pure down home girl. And it's like, now you're dating the girl from Magic City. Like, that's, you can date her.
He's very nice.
But I'm sure she's nice. I'm sure she's in law school. I'm sure she's putting herself through law school. But like, those two things optically don't seem aligned.
So
I thought she was going to go with a Kardashian, but she went with Magic City. I wasn't disappointed in the analogy. I knew the analogy was going to hit.
So what Trysta said makes perfect sense. Like that, she makes perfect sense right there. I will say this. I think Russ, we both agree he's better than John Wall. All three of us,
Yes.
we agree he's better than
Yes.
John Wall. I think he's better than Reggie Jackson.
Yes.
And if you're ready to move on from Reggie Jackson and you're like, I mean, we didn't have to trade for Russ. Like, we can get worst case scenario.
He's better than Patrick Beverly. He's better than
Pat
other options.
But I'm saying at worst case, we could get Reggie Jackson type back. I think we all think he's better than that. Why not? Why not? Why not see what happens? Because I think they were going to go to the finals with Reggie Jackson. So if you bring in a player that's better, slightly better, whatever than Reggie Jackson, I don't think it changes the trajectory of what they could be.
The only thing that I would say is that there is a risk in the sense that when Russ has been off ball, and I really hate it when people say, well, Russ has been off ball before, he can do it. Like, that is very infuriating to me because he has never shown over a course of time that he's successful off ball as like a shooter threat when two guys are ball handling without him, right? Like, that's not his skill set. That's not what he does well. He doesn't cut without the ball. It's never what he's going to do. He's kind of just stands there. So like, if that leads to defenders collapsing on Paul George in high leverage moments, or that puts more pressure on Kawhi Leonard because he's not a threat and defenders can sag off him, or it messes with the flow. Like we've seen with the Lakers, not to say it's a 1-to-1 comparison either, but there were some issues with flow with them in the first unit last year, not this year. Like it could be slightly a risk depending on who the matchup is, right? And so it's a pretty weak West in terms of like matchups, but I can see there being like a little bit of chemistry things, a little bit of attitude things, a little bit of friction things. That's just a risk. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but to me, it was just like, I guess that's what you do because Paul George wants it to be done and he's lobbying for Russ and like, but in terms of what this team has said, doesn't really align and it doesn't feel like zero risk. Yes, zero money. You're not paying him very much money, but the threat to the locker room is definitely a possibility.
Russ ain't never messed up a locker room. Not one. He ain't never messed up a single locker room.
I don't know about like messing up I'm not talking about like a bad culture drain or anything, but just like, you know how it is when there's
also Ty Lue will he'll cuss his ass out.
Ty Lue ain't gonna have that.
You're right. Ty Lue is the only reason this is not like wee, you know, like you're like, okay, well,
Mrs. Officer? What was that?
That's like alert. That's like alert. Break the glass. Run away. You know, like there is an intruder in the building. There, you know what I mean? Please evacuate the building. Wee, you know, like that. So, but Ty Lue brought Nick Batum as a small 5 against the Mavericks and totally changed the way that series went, right? So because I watch the games, we know these things and we log these things in our brain and say, okay, if anyone can do it, Ty Lue can do it. And however he decides to use them, I trust Ty Lue. We're going to see exactly what Ty Lue's made of now.
I think Ty Lue's a hell of a
I
coach.
Yeah,
I
he's
do
so
too,
good.
and I always
so
did.
That's a fat ass lie, and you should be ashamed
I
of
always
yourself,
believed in
but
Ty Lue.
You've come around.
Always.
I have not always believed in Ty Lue either. But
Either.
when any coach that's paired with LeBron, you immediately say to yourself, is it him or is it LeBron? And now we know
Mike
it's
dealt
him.
with. Yeah,
Well,
Mike dealt with the same thing.
But look, to
Yep.
be fair, and Trysta, you probably had this. You probably saw the same things I did if you didn't believe in Ty Lue from the start. There were times after they won the championship where Ty Lue, I was just like, bro, what's he doing? Like with the rotations, like it's like this isn't the way to even compete against the Warriors. Like, what are we doing? Anybody else? But since he got to the Clippers,
See, like there's a Ty Lue fan there.
No,
Look at
I'm a Ty Lue fan too. I'm a Ty Lue fan too, man. He's done work since he got to the Clippers.
No, don't go over there.
It's all right. It's a dog friendly show. I don't know what it is this week. Like Will Z's dogs went nuts earlier this week, and now Trista's dogs are having a little Royal Rumble right here, and it's all right. Dog friendly show. It's no problem. It's no problem. If not talking like number 1 seed, number 2 seed, what team in the Western Conference do you think has the best final 24-25 game stretch?
Oh, that's a great question. I think KD comes back next week.
Mm-hmm.
You know who I think actually will have the best 20. This won't matter for them, but I think the team that could potentially have the best 23-24 game stretch for them is leg show. Like I think they could end up making a little baby run, and I hate to say it. I mean, the way they played against our Dubs last night, it was just never close, never in doubt. They really did. They turned. It was almost like what our guy in DC did to turn Russell Westbrook into all those pieces. Like he turned Russell Westbrook and some other guys into like, you got D'Lo, you got Malik Beasley, you got Jared Vanderbilt, you got Rui Hachimura. Like those are guys. Those are
some of the stupidest general managing decisions in the Western Conference in history.
Yes.
Like Danny Ainge, what the hell were you doing?
It's crazy.
Why would you do that, Danny Ainge? And he's like, I don't know. I just want picks right now. It's cool.
Danny Ainge, no one can convince me Danny Ainge wasn't paying off a bet. Like he lost a bet on the golf course to Rob Pelinka and had to do that deal.
Because that deal was way too beneficial for the Lakers.
Way too
beneficial. Makes no sense. So, and the fact that there were all these players that have already kind of played together in the sandbox. You had Minnesota getting involved. You had Utah still getting involved. You had the Lakers still getting involved. And they've kind of like, the players have been on all 3 of those teams in some form or fashion. And then all of a sudden, Mike Conley goes to Minnesota, which I think is a good fit too. So I think Lakers will probably win a lot of games down the stretch. I think they have a pretty easy schedule. I think Phoenix is in the mix to have a really good last 20 games. And then probably Clippers once they figure some things out. I am a little curious, though, because they've continued to say it's going to take some time for us to acclimate Russ into our team. Believe it's going to get it's a little rough to begin with because we're acclimating him. And I'm like, you got 20 games left.
All they meant was tonight. We're not going to be able to get it done the first night against Sacramento, but come this weekend, we're going to be hitting on all cylinders. That's how I took it.
That's how you saw it?
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to see. I like the Bones Highland pickup a lot. I like the Plumlee pickup a lot. I like the Gordon pickup a lot. So they added guys. They really did feel like, okay, we need to swing and we need to get better. It's a shame that the Grizzlies couldn't have gotten Mikal Bridges for 4 first-round picks because that would have been really interesting too.
It's not a shame. I don't like the Grizzlies.
I know you don't.
They can go to hell. I think the Clippers are going to the finals. I do think that. Sorry, Denver. And also,
sorry, Denver.
I've got a running, like I keep bringing this up, and it's starting to become less and less tongue in cheek. Trysta, do you think the Warriors get 10 road wins this year?
Where are they at now?
7. They've got a road game, I think, against Houston and everything else is against people.
I think
At
they
the
get
very
to
least,
9. I
above
think
the
there was
plane.
two cupcake ones. I think it's 9-ish. 8, 9.
Nine-ish. That's
Back
that
to
is
the
not a,
9. Back to the 9 number for our Dubs.
you could so our Dubs, are they like done done?
They're like, to me, the scary movie villain that you need to execute in order for them to not grab your ankle when you try to walk over them. To me, that's just a team I don't trust to ever say they're dead. I just never trust it, because they've shown me multiple times that when they've looked dead, that when they decide to turn it on, that they look like really formidable players and teams, like look cohesive. Now, the decision making hasn't been great down the stretch. Bob Myers does seem a bit checked out. Does feel like he's moving like Maya, and maybe somewhere good, right?
Great
Like
son.
maybe.
Great son.
And you've got Steve Kerr, who wants a lot of Anthony Lamb minutes. Not sure what the deal is with that. Clearly not on the same page. Probably could have gotten somebody in the buyout market that would have helped them in any way, form or fashion, besides just Gary Payton. So I'm not really sure. It feels like they're shedding money versus trying to get better. I'm curious, are they like, well, we're kind of punting on the season a little bit because Steph's now gotten injured twice, and without Steph, yeah, maybe we get in the play-in and maybe Steph makes something happen, but they didn't the last time they were in the play-in.
Yeah.
What do you do? Like, if you're punting on it, like if they're a movie villain, if they're Freddy Krueger, this is Nightmare on Elm Street 5.
Yeah.
We just need to put an end to this series.
Yeah,
like this series, this series was done. We need to put an official end to
this year. This year, they're finished. They're finished.
As we know it, they're done.
They're done. This year, they're done. They don't defend.
Okay,
well
but
enough.
is the dynasty of the Golden State
No,
Warriors
because you
over?
got Steph. I mean, I'm expecting Steph to come back. I like Andrew Wiggins. Kuminga's shown some things. They're gonna have to figure out what happens with the cohesiveness with Dre. They're gonna have to figure out what they're gonna do with Klay Thompson, because I think they're on the books for like, I think it's another like $200 million a year.
You think they have a
in
new
luxury
general manager
tax.
next year?
It seems like I agree with Trysta. It seems like it. It seems like that might be the move. So there's some tinkering that has to be done. But last year, the one thing I did learn last year is if you have Steph Curry, you got a shot.
Yeah.
So I think next year they may come back to like being fringe contender. But this year they're done. They're cooked.
Do you have to trade Jordan Poole?
To me, and I put this out, I said, would you rather have Jordan Poole or Andrew Wiggins? Because I think if you're not a contender right now, you have to make hard decisions with your salary cap and your luxury tax. And I think you could probably get a decent return for Jordan Poole. So I would. I think that's probably a good idea. And it's not like his contract's crazy. Was he making like $24-25 million a year or something like that with on top of incentives? So if you're a team that needs a two guard that can play kind of combo guard, yeah, why not? Like, ship his ass to Orlando, see how he does there with Paolo, something like that, something to the effect of a place like
the Knicks,
or maybe the Nets. Yeah, maybe you can get Cam Johnson for him.
The Knicks.
Yeah.
Jalen Brunson and Jordan Poole.
Throw RJ at the 3.
Okay. Do you like Brooklyn?
I think I think I do. Yeah, I think I do.
Okay. I'm gonna give you the Kenny Caraway question. For the next 3 years, you could pick one. You got to ride with the squad: Brooklyn or Orlando.
Brooklyn.
See,
I said Orlando.
We'll get a little loft together because that's who I'm with.
I said Orlando.
The reason that I can't say Orlando is because Orlando has too many pieces that like are replicates of one another, right? They've got too many. No, but they've got wings, and it's a wing driven league. You can have too many wings, but you can't have too many. It's like what you can't have is like mediocre, middle of the road point guards, which is what they have, right? They had RJ Hampton, who they let go of, which I thought was hilarious because of the whole Davion Mitchell cooking him thing. I was like, goodbye, bye, RJ. chuck somewhere else. But like they've got Cole Anthony, they've got Markelle Fultz, and I like Markelle Fultz. I like Cole Anthony, but do I love them like as the primary guard for this team? Like, no, I
But
don't.
you love Paolo.
I love Paolo. Love Paolo.
That was
But
the
I
one
also
thing that
love
made me
Mikal
think.
Bridges.
That's okay, because I thought you were gonna go Orlando just because of how much you love Paolo.
So me and you said Mikal Bridges. Me and Damien had a discussion last week. I like Mikal Bridges too. I don't like him as much as Damien, and I feel like I don't like him as much as you.
Yeah, I don't think anyone, almost no one likes him as much as me. Ever since he went to Phoenix, and I love the fact that they snaked him from Philadelphia for like Zaire Williams, which was happened on draft night, and I was there. I was like, oh yeah. So, I mean, just somebody who's as long as him, who can shoot as well as him, but also is very dynamic on the defensive side of the ball, can like switch really well. It can like get deflections. He's just a really good two-way wing.
You have a ceiling comp?
It's hard because he's not like a Brandon Ingram. That's not really like his thing. But offensively, he's always been someone that they didn't really want to do that. You have Devin Booker. He's like got the ball dominating there. Then you end up adding Chris Paul and a bunch of like little pygmy shrimp guards like Campaign who want the ball in their hand, Landry Shamet. I don't think his role is
What you a pygmy shrimp point guard?
Yeah, Campaign. He's a bucket, but he's a little pygmy shrimp over there. You can knock him over with a feather. You know what I mean? And like then you had Ayton that you needed to get touches to. So it was like, hey, Mikal Bridges, we know that you're like you can score, but just stand in the corner. Just stand in the corner and wait for the ball to come to you. And he's so much more than that. And so we haven't really seen what his upside could be because he's been a defensive specialist and a corner 3-point shooter. He basically had the role that LeBron forced Chris Bosh into. It's like you just hang out over there for a while. And I think he's a lot more than that.
I think he's a slasher. I think he's a catch and shoot guy. Yeah, catch and shoot guy. And
he can create.
I don't
see
that's where we part ways. Because Damien, and this is what I'm hung up on. Damien said he has Paul George potential, and I said he's not that. He can
get separation though.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think offensively, Paul George is really, really high, but like that is like the tippy top of what he could be. Like we can't forget, Paul George was a great. Paul George is really, really good. Paul George was a great player. Like I can see that in Mikal Bridges.
He had 40-something points the other night.
Really high offensive end, but I feel like he's capable, and mainly because of exactly what Trysta just laid out. Like, again, it's a bit extreme to use the Harden leaving Oklahoma City comparison, but I do think he's going to have that opportunity, especially these last 20 some odd games of the year, to really kind of. Since we're talking, spread his wings offensively and kind of establish himself on that.
He'll have the opportunity.
And I think culturally, Brooklyn needs to know what they are, right? Which is you are no longer going to see yourself as a free agent destination. That's just not what you should do. Why? Why do I say that? Because I believe not only is it important to have, sexy names and like coverage on ESPN, but more importantly, I think for Brooklyn, when you are opposite of the Knicks, right? And the Knicks are always going to be the main game in town.
Facts.
I think for Brooklyn, they need to know that fans do not appreciate.
Speaking of not appreciating,
facts. She's like, I don't appreciate you. So fans.
He's gone cold. I'm wondering why I got out of it. Oh, geez.
Teddy, why don't you be quiet? So, I don't think fans appreciate not building organically because they don't ever really know when those players are going to leave. And they've already had that happen, right? Them getting collections of stars that didn't work out, and then their cupboards were dry with the Paul Pierce trade. So, and I heard it firsthand from on the Fan when I would be there on the weekend. I said, why don't you guys care about Kyrie? Why don't you guys care about Kevin Durant? Why don't you guys care about James Harden? You have three of the biggest names in town, and yet you do not care at all. And they said they're not ours.
Mm.
We just collected them, and they're probably going to leave. What do we have to be excited about? They're not a part of our community. That we did not birth them. We did not organically help develop them. They're just things that we've picked up along the way that have come here to sort of suck off of our culture, and they're probably going to take our culture with them. And I think if you're Sean Marks, recognize this is a learning lesson. You have Mikal Bridges. Don't flip him. Keep him. Build around him. If the next disgruntled star that wants to come there, you say no, unless they're like someone like Donovan Mitchell who's going to be there and build culture. Not a high-end first-tier star that's going to demand this and demand that, and maybe you're now a slave to what they want to do.
What you said about Brooklyn is probably indicative of the franchise. Like, that's how New York looks at Brooklyn. It's not ours. Like,
Yeah.
they just came up from New Jersey. It's not ours.
It's just a bunch of cultural appropriation over
That's
there. That's all,
Yeah.
that's
all of
all it
Brooklyn.
is.
All of it.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Are we the only show you did today?
Yeah.
Oh, that's love.
Yep.
That's
Are
love.
we really?
Yeah, you are.
Oh, that's
That's love.
that's awesome.
I mean,
Yeah.
I had an interview for my show with Michael Scotto, but other than that, it was
Well, that's
just
not
you. I got the neurovirus. I got hit with the stomach bug on Tuesday.
Oh,
I've been off. Keep yourself safe. I've been off for the last 3 days, but I feel good now. But I had a lot of other things I needed to take care of. So yeah, just you guys. I
Well-
make a point, no matter where I am on the earth, as long as I have Wi-Fi, I will pick up my phone and do your show.
Your love. That's love. That's
We
love.
gotta make sure Kyle doesn't get thrown off the rundown, though. I heard
Kyle
things
quit.
are
Well,
in
Kyle
flux.
quit.
Kyle.
Kyle, we lost Kyle. R.I.P.
R.I.P. You guys got to pre-tape Kyle.
Yeah.
Well, no.
No, you're just like, nah.
Trysta,
we'll
before-
just fit in Kyle when
But
we can.
before we let you go, I do want to say, I just thought about this. Like, the middle of April is gonna be here before you know it. Like, you need to start like kind of planning that right now.
Yeah, we need to start talking about. I had a conversation yesterday with Mitch Rosen, head of our network, but also head of WSCR in Chicago, and he was very interested. Said he loved the Sacramento coverage, and I said, how about we try to figure out a way to do like a watch party for either the road games, or we'll figure out an activation, as we would say in the LA world, so that we can touch the people. We got to touch. I like the fans. I like the chatty house. We can get a chatty house little thing together.
We've got the perfect place.
All right. Well, let's set it up.
Thus why we missed the game live last night. We've got the perfect
Yeah,
place coming
man.
for you. We will have, I promise we will have all that set up by the time you get here.
Well,
But you
great.
look like $1 million. So whatever you're about
Thank
to
you.
do, go have fun.
I appreciate that. I love you guys, and I will see you next Friday.